Right on.
There you go, Todd. Right?
Yeah.
I started this when I was about 9 years old. Actually, broke my arm trying to learn how to ride unicycle. Just now started mountain unicycling.
For those who think they've seen everything, we're guessing you probably haven't seen this.
Everyone's in awe. No one believes that you can actually ride a unicycle off-road, and we've made that possible.
This is Oregon, of course, more specifically Bend, where you can't throw a stone without hitting someone willing to try the next new thing.
Yeah!
And while the unicycle has actually been around for a while, it's been largely left to the circus ring.
Well, unicycles are for clowns, yes, but they're not for your normal clown. It does take an incredible amount of skill to be able to ride a mountain unicycle.
Go for the hop.
Oh!
Of the 20 or so mountain unicycle riders in the Bend area, none have been riding for more than a few years. That's because before that, the sport didn't exist. It took locals Wade Beecham and Eugene Cathcart to recycle an old concept and give it a new twist. Their prototype spawned a full-fledged mountain uni business.
Eugene convinced me. We were in my shop working on some bike frames one night. He saw some parts that I had, and he said, make a unicycle out of that. So 4 a.m. I had a unicycle.
Yeah!
Wade and Eugene's mountain unis are a big improvement over traditional unicycles. Fat tires, for one thing, have made riding over dirt and rocks at least somewhat less terrifying. And no one in their right mind would have attempted this with an old-fashioned hard unicycle seat.
Oh, perfect.
Seats were really uncomfortable. They were really just hard metal rails covered with some vinyl. We've started creating our own seat covers here. They've got about 2 inches of foam underneath there. We're now using mountain bike crank arms, which are a lot longer for more leverage, just so that you can really crank on the wheel and get a little bit more power for uphills or pedal back on it a little bit harder for downhills. Just the longer the crank is, the more leverage you're going to have against your wheel.
Yeah, there you go.
There are still probably fewer than 100 mountain uni riders in Oregon. A reminder that this sport isn't any easier than it looks. Learning to ride a unicycle is, to say the least, humbling, especially for those who think they're pretty good on a mountain bike.
It took me 1,000 tries. I don't know, that's not literal for sure, but it felt like it took 1,000 tries. I learned when I was 31. I thought, I'm past 30 years old. Which to me was a milestone, and I was like, I want to learn something new this year. And I was totally addicted for the first 6 months for sure. I didn't go anywhere without my unicycle.
That kind of enthusiasm runs through this crew of Bend locals, many of whom have mountain biked for years. To them, familiar trails have become routine on a two-wheeler.
Mountain bikes these days have 4 inches of suspension, and it makes things really easy. Whereas unicycles are rigid, direct drive, and you can't descend something at 20 miles an hour. You can't pedal that fast, so it makes it more challenging.
Smaller things are a bigger thrill. On a mountain bike, you kind of progress to where you kind of need a steep trail or you need really technical or something, but everything's steep and everything's technical when you're on a unicycle.
Come on, Dad!
It's a matter of putting time in. I mean, it's like anything we want to do and want to get good at, we have to put time into it.
You got her?
I think we're all pushing each other just real subtly, That's another thrill about it, is that we're all just evolving. Every day it's a new trick.
I'm seeing a couple of big guys spotting me coming over here. That's too radical. I can't do that. And then, I don't think so.
It's a good indicator that you can't ride it if it actually can't walk on it.
Well, a good line is something first that if you fall, you're probably not going to get killed or you got a place to bail out. That's my first thing I look for. And
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Right on.
I tried it, your turn.
It's hard to remember back to when we learned how to ride bikes for most people, but there's just a point at which you cross that line and you know what you're doing, you somehow feel it, and whether you really know what you're doing or not, you're doing it anyway.
If you're gonna go down, you wanna land on your feet and you don't care where the unicycle goes. That's the key to not getting hurt, is let the unicycle take the fall for you and try and come out standing.
We were told that falls aren't as painful as they look, though we tended to think that anyone who takes this up probably has a pretty high pain tolerance anyway.
These 3 gouges match those 3 pins perfectly.
It's called mountain unicycling. But take it to the streets, and every curb, staircase, and hill becomes an instant playground. There's also the added benefit of performing for an audience.
Mostly people just stop and stare at you. Maybe they're afraid you're gonna fall and hit them, or maybe they just wanna give you room because you are probably going along like this, which, you know, I guess that maybe attracts people too. They don't even see the unicycle, they just see some guy a little bit taller than everybody else going down the street like this.
Kids definitely are the people that are the funnest to be around. They just get super enthusiastic when they see a unicycle go by, and most people I talk to under the age of 12 wish that I had one right there that fit them. The people that are doing it are people about 30 years old that are looking to get into doing something else. They've done mountain biking, maybe they've done skiing, and they're just trying to pick up a new challenge and find something else fun to do with their free time.
It just shows you that you can do things that you would have had fun doing as a kid, as an adult.
Unicycling for some, they can grab it and go with it, and it's very easy to do. Unicycling for others is just, some people cannot get it. The only way to know is to go.